About a year ago, I started working at a small marketing agency in the city. It wasn't a bad job, but the workload was intense, especially since we were understaffed. To keep up, I often stayed late in the office, sometimes until midnight. The building was mostly empty by that time, except for the cleaning staff, who came and went quietly. One particular night, I was there alone, trying to finish a project before a big deadline. My desk was on the 4th floor, in an open-plan office with rows of cubicles and large windows that overlooked the city. The only light came from my desk lamp and the faint glow of the city lights outside. The silence was heavy, broken only by the occasional hum of the air conditioning or the faint creak of the old building settling. It was around 11:30 when I first heard a faint ding from the elevator at the end of the hallway. I paused, listening. The cleaning crew usually left by 9, and as far as I knew, no one else was working late that night. I brushed it off, figuring maybe someone from another floor forgot something and came back for it. A few minutes later, I heard soft, deliberate footsteps echoing down the hallway. They weren't hurried, just slow and steady, like someone taking their time. I couldn't see the hallway from my desk, but the sound was getting closer. I felt a twinge of unease. "Hello?" I called out, trying to sound casual, but failing to hide the slight tremor in my voice. No response. The footsteps stopped. I got up and walked to the edge of the office, peering down the dimly lit hallway. It was empty. The elevator doors were closed, and there was no sign of anyone. I stood there for a moment, listening, but all I could hear was the faint hum of the building. Shrugging it off, I went back to my desk, telling myself I was just being paranoid. Maybe I'd imagined the sound, or maybe someone had come up and left without me noticing. But as I sat down, I realized something that made my stomach drop. The elevator ding I heard earlier had come from my floor. If someone had arrived, they would still be up here. There was no way they could have left without me hearing the elevator again. I tried to shake the thought and focused on my work, but I couldn't concentrate. The office felt different, like the air had grown heavier. I kept glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see someone standing there. About 20 minutes later, I heard the elevator again. This time, it was louder, clearer, and unmistakably coming from my floor. I froze, my hands hovering over my keyboard. My desk was far enough from the hallway that I couldn't see the elevator doors, but I could hear them sliding open, followed by those same slow, deliberate footsteps. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, my pulse quickening. I wasn't sure what I was planning to do. Confront whoever it was. Run? I crept toward the hallway, my footsteps barely making a sound on the carpeted floor. As I rounded the corner, the footsteps stopped again. The hallway was empty. I stood, my heart pounding, shining my flashlight toward the elevator. The doors were closed. I was starting to think I was losing my mind when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. One of the office doors farther down the hall was ajar. I was certain it had been closed earlier. I took a step back, my instincts screaming at me to leave. But as I turned to head back to my desk and grab my things, I heard the door creak open. Slowly, deliberately. "Hello?" I called out again, my voice cracking. Silence. And then, the sound of something scraping against the floor. It was faint, like metal being dragged over tile. My breath caught in my throat. The cleaning staff didn't leave any equipment out, and the only thing down that hallway was the conference room. I backed away, keeping my eyes on the door. My phone flashlight flickered, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw a shadow move across the floor. Not a normal shadow, it was too tall, too stretched out, like it didn't belong to anything human. I bolted back to my desk, grabbed my bag, and headed straight for the stairs. There was no way I was waiting for the elevator. As I descended, I felt like I was being watched. Every creak of the stairs, every echo of my footsteps, sounded amplified in the empty building. When I finally reached the lobby, I expected to feel relief, but as I crossed the marble floor toward the glass doors, I noticed something that made my skin crawl. The security desk was empty. The night guard, who was always there, was nowhere to be seen. His coffee cup was still steaming, and his chair was pushed back, like he'd gotten up in a hurry. I didn't wait to find out what happened. I ran out of the building, and didn't stop until I was in my car with the doors locked. I sat there for a few minutes, catching my breath, staring up at the dark windows of the office. Just as I was about to drive away, I saw movement on the fourth floor. Someone or something was standing in the window, watching me. I don't work late anymore. In fact, I left that job a few months later. I never found out what was in the building that night. And honestly, I don't want to know. But every now and then, I have nightmares about that figure in the window, standing there, waiting. What would you do if this happened to you? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the shadows hold more than just darkness.